There is only one way to learn, and it is by doing. Right, and easier to say than to do. But it is possible. The secret is to focus on simple, specific activities. And that is an approach that you can apply to any kind of competence domain. However, in this video, I will use an example in project management mindset. It's only because for me it is easier, because it is what I've done for decades. Many years ago, I was traveling the world working as a project management instructor. I was teaching a class every week, a full immersion 5-day workshop. And every week I had around 30 people coming from different parts of the world. So at the end of each course, I was taking a picture of me together with all the students. After 3 weeks, I was sending an email to all the students with the picture and a message that sounded like here is a memory of the nice time we spent together in that particular city. And I have a question for you. What have you changed in your behavior after the course? Because usually the end of course questionnaires were very positive. I was expecting a great kind of feedback, but the result, the feedback was kind of disappointing. First of all the 30 people that attended the course, only 5-6 usually answered. If you consider that as a minimum I expected a thank you for the picture, I assume that these 25 people probably didn't change a lot on their behaviors. Of the other 5, usually 3-4 said things like, well, I thought about trying to change my behaviors, but then I realized that, my boss, it would be nice for my colleagues. I cannot do that with this kind of colleagues. My client is the old style. It is not possible to apply this kind of method. In substance, they were kind people answering, but the feedback was negative. They changed nothing. Luckily enough, every week there was always 1 or 2 people that instead said, yes, my behavior changed. I had a meeting with my boss that as usually wanted to cut my budget in half, but I used the approach that we learned together. And for the first time in my career, I got all the resources that I needed. The final result, it is that only 5% of the participants in the course were really learning. And by learning, I mean effectively changed their behavior. That has profound implication on my activities in the following years, because I completely changed my approach to teaching and learning in general. But the question is, if all these students that worked with me 40 hours, only 5% learned something, what could be the percentage of people that learn from a video? Actually, I think that could be better. And the reason is that these people, my students, were coming from corporations that send them with the expectation that they would come back and manage better with a better approach complex projects. They expected them to manage the project in a different way, from the initiation to planning to monitoring to communication to leading the team to manage risk. The problem is that the aim was too big, too much expectation for these poor people. Instead, because this video is short, and in general, when you watch a video, the video is short, I'm forced to focus on something smaller, more specific. And so I guess the possibility of learning something from this and other video in general is higher. But let's go back to our example. How to adopt a project management mindset? Well, first of all, the objective now, the aim is not to acquire project management competence, but simply to be able to conduct a small project from idea to completion. So first of all, you need to choose a micro project that is small and typical of your everyday life. For example, organize a birthday party for the kids, or maybe organize a dinner with more friends than usually, or maybe go to visit an art exhibition in another city. All these micro projects need to have a few characteristics. First of all, they need to have a clear deadline and output. For example, we need to visit the art exhibition of the Impressionists in 2 weeks from now. At least another people should be involved because, let's be clear, the biggest challenge in project management is other people, is not you. A project without other people involved is easy. Is when there are other people that you find the challenges. And the third requirement is that if the project fail is no big problem. For example, if you are not able to organize the visit to the Impressionist exhibition, okay, we'll do something different. I don't know, we just go for a walk on the hills. Once you've got your micro project, you start to apply the 5 steps of project management competence, those steps that will indicate that you are learning a project management mindset that you start to apply. For all this activity, you don't need big tools. What you need is just paper and pencil or pen. Okay, step number 1, define the goal. You need to write on your sheet of paper, this project is successful if. Well, if is something that you can verify, something like, for example, at the end of the day, after the visit to the Impressionist exhibition, somebody said, well, it was a nice day, or maybe you should do this more often. Very important, you need to write this goal on the sheet of paper. Otherwise, the project is not started. Step number 2, you need to break down the project in small bits. For example, something like book the ticket for the exhibition or reserve the table at the restaurant. Things like that. Important thing is that you write these visible bits, we call them tasks. Each bit you assign an owner, somebody that is in charge. For example, my neighbor Carlo, and the deadline, let's say tomorrow evening. So the task will say something, book the ticket to the exhibition, will be done by Carlo by tomorrow. Important, you need to write these bits on the same sheets of paper, otherwise you cannot move on. Third step, you need to communicate with the people involved. Carlo, do you agree that you are going to book the tickets by tomorrow? It's important that before moving to the next step, I have completed this communication, otherwise I cannot move on. Step number 4, tracking. It means that on my piece of paper, I can highlight, track, maybe I use a check mark, maybe I use an highlighter, the activities that I have completed and the activities that we are still to be done, if there are some kind of difficulties that is blocking an activities. These things are needed to write down, to mark in some way on my sheet of paper. Step number 5, that is the last step, close out in an orderly manner. Now I finish the project and then I can ask the question, what did well? What could be have done better? What would I do in a different way next time? This part is very, very important, and unfortunately is overlooked by the majority of the professional project management. And it is a pity, because it is in this stage that you learn. It is in this stage that you reinforce your learning. So, congratulations, now you have finished, you have completed your first micro project. Now, let's go back and start another micro project. You repeat this cycle. After a few cycles, you're looking for projects a bit more complex, and that's natural. It's fine. It means that you are getting comfortable. So good, increase the complexity, but be careful. Do not exaggerate. Try to increase only one variable at a time. For example, increase the number of people or the number of tasks, or a more aggressive deadline, not all together. Otherwise, you end like my students. During this process, you also need to study some more stuff, but it's not something that we are discussing today. Otherwise, bye-bye to simple, small, specific learning point. For now, just choose your micro project and focus on your 5 steps of the project management mindset. Thank you for being with me today. I hope to see you soon. Ciao.